It is Sunday night in East Lansing, Michigan. My name is Jim Comparoni, publisher, SpartanMag.com. Come on in, gather around, behave yourselves. You don't have to behave yourself. You're at home. Just take care of yourself at home. Behave yourself if you want to. If you don't want to, that's none of my business. Whatever. We're going to talk Michigan State sports. I've been publisher, SpartanMag.com since back in the 90s, back when the internet was first starting. And now we're doing this nonsense every once in a while. Appreciate everybody gathering around, being a part of it one more time. It's been a couple weeks since we've done it, and we're not quite ready to get back into a weekly type of situation. That'll happen at the very end of May. I told you that about 3 weeks ago, that it would be a little more intermittent, but taking care of some stuff off the field a little bit and having a good time with that. But once we get into June, we will be doing this regularly with some other plans about ready to kick off and tip off. That'll be fun as we get into June. And recruiting really starts to hit a new gear with Mel Tucker, who is succeeding Mark Dantonio as head football coach at Michigan State. Will begin to get into face-to-face recruiting in June. He'll have recruits on campus, as will be the case with coaches all over the country, but it'll be the first time Mel Tucker will have done that, and it will be interesting to gauge and see how recruiting goes once Mr. Tucker's able to turn it loose and get the boat fully in the water, both himself and his staff. It'll be interesting to see what happens with unofficial and official visits in June, as well as camp visits. All those things still materializing. I'm a little bit rusty. Haven't done this in a few weeks, but we're glad to have you guys back. And it looks like the audio is working, so we're off to a good start. I know it's Sunday, but if you're enjoying refreshments at home or somewhere else, let us know what your refreshment of choice is tonight. And as always, we will be taking questions. Questions we will field from the Underground Bunker message board, which is part of SpartanMag.com. The Underground Bunker message board is the church of what's happening now with Michigan State sports. That is the daily narrative for Michigan State sports, for Michigan State fans all over the planet, this great planet we call Earth. If you're looking to talk Michigan State sports, Underground Bunker's place to be. If you're a SpartanMag.com member, if you're not a SpartanMag.com member, go on over there for free. Try us for a month. You'll get addicted. You'll thank us later, and you'll become a much more astute Michigan State fan, and you'll be able to match wits with your friends and enemies and frenemies all over the place for subjects pertaining to Michigan State sports or pertaining to the Wolverines and all those other people that you love to hate, right? There we go. Don Straight with a super chat, personal sponsorship for tonight's Spartan Mag Live. Appreciate that, Don Straight. Also, Brad Hoos in the house, bringing it big. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate that. Appreciate those personal sponsorships every time. Certainly do. And I can't thank you enough. Anyway, we will have questions that were posted at the Underground Bunker message board, mailbag style. We will be fielding those questions. Also, feel free to go ahead and post questions in the chat area. I will get to those in the lightning round at the end of tonight's festivities. We will check in over in the comment section as the show progresses. We will answer some questions over there. Tag back up, do it again. Tag back up, do it again. And then lightning round at the end. And it'll be fun. It is May 15th, 16th, something like that. And it's always football season at SpartanMag.com. You guys know that. Today, football season took another step toward the 2021 season. And there was some coverage over at SpartanMag.com beginning at about 10 o'clock this morning. Noah Sprunger, our excellent SpartanMag.com intern, uncovered the fact that Mississippi State tight end Powers Warren is transferring to Michigan State. As far as we know, it's as a walk-on. He was a no-star recruit going to Mississippi State. He's known because he is the son of Big Ten Conference Commissioner David Warren. made some news this summer, you may recall, when David Warren announced that the Big Ten was going to be canceling its season. Of course, the Big Ten changed course and had a 7-8 game season in the fall. But at one point, David Warren canceled the Big Ten season and was asked, well, your son plays at Mississippi State. The SEC is still playing. How do you feel about that? And I can't remember what he said, but it was words to the effect of, I'm in charge of what I'm in charge of. He's at that program. He's a grown man doing what he's doing, whatever. So he played for Mississippi State. I don't think he got on the field this year. Got on the field for 1 game in 2019, and I think 5 games in 2018. He's a tight end. Certainly a position of need for Michigan State. 6'3", 245. I hear he might get a little bit of a look at defensive end as well, but I think he's going to be a walk-on. But Noah Sprunger with the scoop on that one. Great job, Noah. The rest of the news, 10 Michigan State transfers reporting to campus today, moving in. You know, I drove through campus today, took a look around. I was running some errands over in Lansing, and I was driving through. And I went by the football building just to see if there was any kind of foot movement, just to see if there was any activity. And there was none. Nothing in the Perlis Plaza, nothing in the office areas, nothing going on in that entryway to the Doug Weaver building, not much in the parking lot. You never would have known that players had been reporting earlier in the day. I drove by at about 4 o'clock. I thought I might see something, didn't see anything, doesn't mean anything, but I was just curious. But the transfers moving in today, Chester Kimbrough, corner, transfer from University of Florida. Kari Crump, transfer from Arizona. Yeah, there were some questions. I'd heard some things that there might be some transfer snags there, but Kari Crump told me earlier today, yes, he's on campus, ready to get going. And you may remember the article if you're a SpartanMag.com subscriber. I interviewed him the day that he committed. His grandmother lives here in East Lansing, not far from where I am right now. Where I am right now, I'm about 2 miles from Spartan Stadium. His grandmother is in East Lansing, maybe a mile and a half from here. I'm not exactly sure where. But close to campus. So Kari Crump, very excited guy to be part of the Spartan family now. Marquis Lowry, corner from Louisville. Ronald Williams, the last scholarship guy added to this influx of talent from the University of Alabama. 6'1", good size. Wide receiver Christian Fitzpatrick, originally from the Detroit area, went to the University of Louisville, now coming back to his home state to be a receiver at Michigan State, about 6'2", 6'3", some size. Interesting addition to the wide receiver talent pool there, Fitzpatrick. Also Malik Carr, originally from where? Oak Park, I think. Big time high school prospect, in my opinion, at 6'5". Tenacious guy, nasty guy, excellent basketball player, interested in playing basketball at Michigan State. Transferring in from Purdue University. Harold Joyner, big running back from Auburn. Crowded running back room at Auburn. I heard Greg McElroy say, I think it was McElroy, on the Sirius satellite channel, saying that he believes that Auburn is going to have the best running back stable in the SEC this year. So that tells you what kind of talent they had at Auburn for Harold Joyner to opt out and say, I'm going to try to find greener pastures. Former 4-star recruit, Harold Joyner, checking in today at 2 o'clock. Quavaris Crouch, linebacker from Tennessee, former 4-star recruit from North Carolina. Position of need. Michigan State needs linebackers, needs players in the back 7. The transfer crop this year for Michigan State, very much strong in the back 7, and it was needed. It was needed. What do we have here? What happened? What's that? Oh, we got Dan Wazlowski checking in with a super chat. Personal sponsorship for the night's festivities. Raising a glass to Dan Wazlowski. Thanks a lot, Dan. Thanks also to Don earlier. And Mr. Hoos. I got my, what is this? It's the old Ensemble Fly Shop mug. Located there in beautiful Grayling, Michigan. You get off the exit at Grayling, you go over the little overpass, it's on the right, it's a wonderful place. If you get off, you have to go all the way down another 7-8 miles to get back on. It's the way Grayling was designed. They didn't want to be like Gaylord. Gaylord, you get off the exit there and it's just all, it's a metropolis of chains. It's not a bad place to stop off either. But Grayling didn't really want to be easy on, easy off. It's easy off, but it's not easy back on. And because of that, Grayling has maintained some of the old school nature of the downtown, and I certainly appreciate both Gaylord and Grayling. Anyway, raising a drink to those guys. Thanks for personal sponsorships tonight. Also at linebacker, Ben Van Summeren from the University of Michigan transferring in. Michigan State still recruiting his younger brother, Alex Van Summeren, a 4-star defensive tackle. That one will go on throughout the summer, I would imagine. Itavian Brown, also known as Tank Brown, 4-star linebacker, University of Minnesota. Did not get on the field for the Gophers this year. Going to have to get to work at Michigan State. He brings in some talent. But those guys, those 10 players, Kimbrough, Crump, Lowry, Williams in the defensive backfield, Fitzpatrick and Carr, wide receivers, Joyner, running back, and then linebackers, Crouch, Van Summeren, Brown. Interesting, Michigan State busy in the portal, busier than anyone in the country, as far as I can tell. I talked to Mike Farrell about that. He is the pontiff of the portal, according to Neuheisel and Childers. And I was going to talk to Farrell a little bit, ask him what he thought. He keeps his ear to the ground pretty good nationally on the portal. I asked him who has had more players out of the portal than Michigan State. He didn't have a running tabulation, but I've got to believe it's Michigan State. With these 10, plus the 5 that came in time for spring practice. Was it 5? It was Russo, Walker, Horst, Jordan, and Brooks were the 5 that are in there. So 15 out of the transfer portal coming in. As far as these portals coming in, the 10, the portal players, how many of them were 4-star recruits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 players were 4-star recruits. Kimbrough, who went to Florida. Williams, who went to Alabama. Carr, who went to Purdue. Joyner, who went to Auburn. Crouch, who went to Tennessee. And Tank Brown, who went to Minnesota. I'm not saying all those guys are going to play like 4-star recruits at Michigan State, but in terms of size, speed, athletic ability, and some skill, even if half of those guys pan out, they will make an impact. And they're expecting all these guys to pan out. That's why they brought them in. But in terms of looking like a team, it's going to fit more of that profile that they're trying to establish. The Saban profile. I'm not saying they're all Saban players, but Tucker and his staff, they've got a size, mass requirement that they're trying to recruit. And of the players that they inherited, some of those guys don't meet that. And they were escorted to the portal for one reason or another. So they're trying to reshuffle that roster. It's hard for me to gauge, and we'll be talking about this all summer. It's hard to gauge how these players are going to play and the chemistry. So many new faces. You have these new recruits coming in, and then transfer portal guys, and they've spent a year apart from one another because of the COVID situation. So it's hard to establish chemistry with when you have that many unknowns. All right, let's see. Let's get it started here, and let's go over to. Let's check the mailbag if I can find it here. Also, want to talk a little bit still about the spring scrimmage. Last time we had one of these things, I mentioned that I was going to go through and do some stats, tabulate some stats from the green-white game. Now you have to understand the green-white game, it was only about 55 plays, so it's not. So the stats that come out of that are not going to be, no one rushes for, 25 times for 180 yards in a spring game. They just don't play that many snaps. So, but we'll get into those statistics in a moment. Hope my voice holds up tonight. A little rusty. All right, question number 1. The guy's name is Go Sparty from Parts Unknown. He says, with most or all of the 2021 roster now on campus, what are your expectations for this season? Wow. Go Sparty's going to get right to it. What are my expectations for the season? Dude, I don't know. They're changing the roster. Got freshmen coming in, portal. Hey, they're hitting the portal harder than anybody. it's hard to look at that depth chart, and there's so many unknowns. Look out! Drop the microphone. There's so many unknowns. So many unknowns, and anytime you're talking about unknown quantities and unproven players, you're kind of whistling through the graveyard a little bit. I mean, at quarterback, I think they've got a good situation at quarterback with Thorne and Russo. It starts there. One way or another, they're going to get a decent functional quarterback out of there. And by the way, there's a question coming up where someone asks me to rate each position group in terms of championship, winning, adequate, or substandard. And we will get to that. But that defensive back seven, the portal's going to have a big impact on those guys. And we've not seen them play. I assume, I think they're going to look good in the airport in the back seven, good enough. But how well tied together can you be when you've only been together for a short period of time? I'll talk about this. Crowley Sullivan and I were talking about this on the phone the other night. And he's a child of the 1970s like I am. And you can ask about the roster and what it looks like as it's being assembled. And we can look at it and look at the parts, but I've got no frame of reference on what it's, putting a team together with 15 members from the transfer portal. It's never been attempted before. Transfer portal's only been around for, 2 or 3 or 4 years? Rutgers last year brought in 6 or 7 and had immediate traction, got better. It's not like they were great, but they improved. They were starting from a much lower level than Michigan State is, but Michigan State's talent level, as everybody saw from the draft, and last year the talent level wasn't great. So, but they weren't at that Rutgers level that Schiano brought in last year. Schiano had a few extra months head start than Tucker did last year. It's never been attempted before. My analogy, this might miss for some of you people, but if you're about my age, you'll know what I mean. It's kind of like, remember when Evel Knievel tried to jump the gosh darn Snake River Canyon? Snake River Canyon? And he built something, he had something built called, usually he was a daredevil that jumped over things with a motorcycle. He jumped over, he put together a rocket cycle, right? Rocket cycle. So Evel Knievel and his crew, they're putting that thing together. And if I were there at that time covering it, and you asked me, how's it coming together? What do you think? I would be like, I have no idea. This has never been attempted before. No idea. Well, in terms of putting a roster together with 15 members from the transfer portal, it's never been attempted. So how will it look initially? I'm not sure. I think Michigan State's confident. I think they feel like they're going to have some able-bodied guys, but Mel Tucker says getting the team chemistry together is going to be very important from the jump. No pun intended on that. You guys remember Knievel? So I think that rocket took off, and then the parachute came out too early, and then it started blowing back, and it was heading down toward the river. And Knievel's thinking to himself, not myself, himself. He was thinking, this rocket doesn't float. That's something they didn't put on the checklist. They didn't really think about actually going into the river because it was way down there. Thing landed on the bank, and he made it out. What did he break his collarbone or something? But if it had gone into the water, I think he would have drowned. Is what they're saying. It's back in the 70s. Was it 1974? So that didn't work. I'm not predicting that this won't work. I'm saying that I've got no frame of reference on how they're doing. So you're asking me what are my expectations for the season? I think you want to go 2-1 in the preseason. Of course, you want to go 3-0, but Miami's going to be pretty good. Going down there in September, it's going to be hot. 2-1 is likely, correct? You go 2-1, you go 4-5 in the Big Ten. Some of you people might not like that. To me, just from the outside looking in, I've not gone over every game week to week and their opponent, and who their opponent plays the week before, and who has bye weeks and all those things. 6-6 is it would be acceptable this year, in my opinion. Anything better than that would be house money gravy for this year. Now, I might say that. Some Michigan State fans might say that's crazy. That's never acceptable. Mel Tucker might say that's crazy. That's not acceptable. You're asking me what are the expectations? 6-6 is the baseline. That's what I think. You can disagree if you like. That's just what I think. Noah Sprunger, question number 2. That's our superstar intern from Rochester, Michigan. He says, which transfers do you expect to start? Who is your under-the-radar roster addition, whether it be a transfer or a freshman, that you expect to surprise people with their play? Under the radar, I'm looking at Kendall Brooks. You saw him in the green-white game from North Greenville University. What is that, Division II in South Carolina? Looked solid in the secondary in the green-white game. Michigan State's going to need some help there at the safety position. Angelo Gross is back there. Xavier Henderson's back there. But I think that Brooks could play himself into a role this year and into the future. So he's definitely the under-the-radar guy. He's that evaluation member of the portal class. And, the corners, 1 or 2 of those new corners is going to have to play. I don't know if it's going to be the Williams kid coming in from Alabama or Kimbrough or whomever, but 1 or 2 of those corners is going to have to play. Kalen Gervin is back with some experience at corner. Gervin's been okay, but he's got to take his game up a level. He's just kind of been okay. Either he needs to take his game up a level, which is possible, or these other guys will have to surpass him, because that level needs to improve for Michigan State to get what they need out of that corner position. I'm going to have to send out a Twitter bat signal here in a second, so bear with me on this. A little feedback there. Get over here on Twitter. Go ahead and post over there in the message area. We appreciate all the SpartanMag subscribers all over the country chiming in, joining in. Look right here. We are live via SpartanMag live right now. And that's that. A lot of you guys are saying, man, why don't you get yourself a producer to do it? I'd get a producer, but I could never find one that can produce. Need people to produce. I don't know. We're okay. Question number 3. Dean from Lansing says, do you feel Mel Tucker has any recruiting momentum after the exceptional portal pickups? Or do you feel they are completely different and have no effect on each other? My answer would be mostly different. I don't think you can get recruiting momentum from the portal pickups. Maybe a little bit, but it's not quite the same thing. Now, as far as the green-white game goes, I went back over it. And when I went over the green-white game, and it's important because it's a public practice. It's the only practice we can see all year. We only saw Michigan State play 7 times in the last. We've seen them in public 8 times in the last 18 months. Since the Pinstripe Bowl against Wake Forest, they've played 7 games in the green-white game, 1 practice. So it is noteworthy what happens in the green-white game. Yeah, it's vanilla, more vanilla than it was in the Dantonio era. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, it just is. But you still get a chance to watch some matchups. And I was there with my Mr. Magoo glasses on, way up in the 5th level. I can see what the structure of the play is and who's making plays, but I can't see names on the back of jerseys. And I can't really make out numbers either most of the time. So I came back, the first article that I wrote, I didn't even know Horst was out there. Jared Horst, the transfer from Arkansas State. But I knew I was watching it live, looking at the coverages. Coverages never changed. Well, they changed, but there was they never blitzed, never rushed more than 4. I'm watching those things, watching the ball, watching some of the live speed a little bit, knowing that I could go back on television and focus in the trenches once I got home. So when I was watching it live in the green-white game, I was not watching the trenches. So I went back and watched the trenches this time. Also took stats. Some of you were, I think, interested in the stats and mentioned on the Underground Bunker message board asking me if I finished the stats. And yes, I have, unofficially, and I've got them right here. Peyton Thorne, 4 out of 8 for 19 yards. Anthony Russo, 6 out of 9 for 86 yards with a touchdown. Noah Kim, 5 out of 9 for 88 yards. And Hampton Fay, 1 for 1 for 12 yards. And the now transferred Theo Day, couple of snaps, didn't attempt to pass. Now, Thorne, I came away from that game, kind of impressed with Thorne again, but the numbers, and we were impressed with Noah Kim. Everybody was. But Noah Kim, all of his numbers were against the first-string defense. And the first-string defense wasn't really a Big Ten-level defense because Michigan State's defensive backfield had walk-ons at the corner position. I'm not sure I saw Kalen Gervin out there. But Thorne was going mostly against second string. He was 1 of 3 against the second string. He was 1 for 1 against the first string. And then 2 of 3 in the 2-minute situation. Russo was 3 of 3 against the second string. 1 of 4 against the first string. 2 for 2 in the 2-minute. And Kim, 5 of 9, all against the first string. First string, quote unquote. He went to Ian Spencer twice, once for 38, once for 36. One time against Emmanuel Flowers in press coverage. Flowers was playing first string corner. Probably not a first string corner in the fall. He was first string corner on this day. So first string defense in quotation marks, but that's who Kim went against. And Kim was pretty impressive. Hampton phase 1 completion was a little check down to running back Simmons for 12 yards. As far as running backs go, not many tailback attempts. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 11 of them. Eli Collins, 4 rushes, 14 yards. Hayward, 3 rushes, 11 yards. Jordan Simmons, 1 rush, 3 yards. Kenneth Walker, a transfer from Wake Forest, I had him for only 1 carry for 8 yards. Donovan Eaglin, 2 carries, 13 yards. Now, Eaglin, one of his carries, he gained 12 yards. And that carry for 12 yards, when I went back over the game on television, that play was not shown on television. There were 4 plays that if you were watching at home on Big Ten Network, 4 plays that you did not see. One of them was Eaglin, 12-yard run. It was on an RPO handoff. Emmanuel Flowers with the tackle. Also, a play you didn't see, Drew Beasley with the touch sack. You couldn't tackle the quarterback. So there was a play when he came and just touched the quarterback. That was against the second-string offense, against Van Opstal, outside rush. If you're watching on TV, they were either at commercial or sometimes a play would take place and they would show the replay and they would talk about the replay. And it was DiNardo and Lisa Byington doing the play-by-play. And I don't think they were there. I think they were going off the television. And I was looking at my notes. I'm like, they missed a play here. They were showing a replay. But Michigan State was running tempo so quickly that Michigan State would run another play. And there's not much crowd noise because there are only 6,000 people there. But if you listened and if you rewound it and listened to it and listened to the public address announcer, you would hear things like, the play that had taken place. There were 2 other plays that took place. There was a 3rd and 8. Peyton Thorne, back to pass, flushed out, keeper, touch, gain of 7. I'm not sure who got the quarterback pressure on that. I had it in my notes, quarterback pressure. Went to watch it on TV, and the play was never on TV. They were talking over it and showing a replay. Or showing an interview with Plaxico Burress one time. There were plays taking place during that interview. Also, there was an incompletion. Thorne, incomplete on a comeback to tight end Jackson Morse. I think it was his name. It was low, and he dropped it. Let me look that one up. Jackson Morse, tight end, 6'3", 235, redshirt junior from East Lansing, transfer from Davenport College. I don't know if that was Davenport that had the football team or not. But anyway, Jackson Morse was on the field, tight end. I don't think he's, from what I saw and what I've heard, I don't think he's a threat to be in the playing group. But you never know with what Tyler Hunt's done and Evan Morris. But anyway, those are 4 plays you didn't see. Those 4, including Eaglin's 12-yard run. And there wasn't much talk about Eaglin on the Underground Bunker message board after the spring game, and I was kind of curious as to why. That's why you didn't see his 12-yard run. Not saying it was great, but it was okay. Anyway, stats, Eaglin, 2 carries, 13 yards. Walker, 1 carry, 8 yards. Receiving, Ian Stewart, 3 catches, 74 yards. Collins, 2 catches for 19. Parks Gissinger, tight end, 2 catches for 15. Cam Allen, the freshman tight end, 2 catches for 3 yards. And that's in terms of multiple catches. Nick Hunter, walk-on, 1 catch, 12 yards. Jaden Reed, 1 catch, 12 yards. Well, wait a minute, I forgot about Reed in the other touchdown. I didn't have that one in there. He had the 42-yard touchdown pass from Russo. So 2 for Reed for 60 yards. Wait, 42, 54 yards. Joe Martinez, 1 catch for 7 yards. Tyler Hunt, 1 catch, 4 yards. Terry Lockett, 1 catch, 5 yards. Sebastian Brown, walk-on from Cass Tech, 1 catch, 10 yards. Touch sacks. Beasley had 1. Brandon Wright had 1. Beasley beat Van Opstal. Brandon Wright had a sack, touch sack against Theo Day. It was an RPO. Should have handed it off. Okay, instead, he pulled it out. No one was open. Brandon Wright was basically unblocked. Touch sack. So it's not like Brandon Wright beat anybody for that touch sack, but Brandon Wright had a touch sack. Beasley actually had 2. He had that one against Van Opstal and another one on a stunt. He was stunting with Camper. Jack Camper was playing defensive tackle, which is something I didn't notice during the course of the game. We had heard that Beasley was going to be playing some defensive tackle in third down situations. Did that a little bit, but on this one, Beasley was defensive end, and Camper, a defensive end, was a defensive tackle in a pass rush situation. Stunt, and they beat Jarvis and Carrick. Kind of confused them a little bit. Beasley stunted inside, got a touch sack. So Beasley with 2 touch sacks on the day. Quarterback pressures. Simeon Barrow, the freshman from Georgia who opted out last fall. I know that if you watched it, you saw it. He was a noisy player. If you were there, you saw it. But in terms of stats, I had him down for 3 quarterback pressures. 1 versus Isaiah, second string right guard. 1 was on a stunt against no one in particular. I can't remember who was confused on that one. And another one against Damon Kaler, who has since transferred to Ball State, I think it is. Second string left guard. On that one, he had a quick shoulder club. Barrow did. Quick shoulder club and really ran his feet. Got in there. Pressured the quarterback. Jacob Panashik also had a quarterback pressure. That one against Spencer Brown. Penalties. Isaiah had 2 false starts. Matt Carrick had a holding. And was it Brandon Wright had an illegal hand to the face? As far as tackles go, I had nobody with more than 2. And I think that's about it. Interception for Michael Dowell. Pass breakups. The linebacker, Terry O'Connor, and Dowell had a pass breakup also. O'Connor was a walk-on who was second string linebacker last year. Traveled with the team, dressed with the team, was second string for every game. Really didn't get in any games except for mop-up duty. I didn't know much about him. I'd watch him in pregame. Didn't know much about him. Saw him play in the green-white game. He's not bad. He had a pass breakup, and he also had an interception during 7-on-7 play against walk-on quarterback Gillespie. O'Connor, 6'3", 225, Richard Jr. from Traverse City Central. Intercepted Gillespie as a backup quarterback during 7-on-7 play. Gillespie, that's Zach Gillespie, redshirt freshman, 6'2", 215 from East Lansing, from Lansing Catholic High School. So O'Connor, functional, second-string type linebacker. Now you have these portal linebackers coming in, and O'Connor's, a decent walk-on. I mean, you're going to have to be solid to move in front of him, which is what they're going to be expecting. But O'Connor, to me, I mean, he's there like a John Mish, Adam Decker type of guy. He's not bad at all. All right, let's go back to the questions real quick. If you have any other questions about spring game, let me know. I know spring game's a long time ago, but hey, they're on the field once in 9 months. It's worth talking about. And some of the opinions that I will have about the depth chart for the rest of the season have to do with what we saw in the green-white game, including Jarrett Horst. We'll talk a little bit more about him in a moment. Hayden V says he wants an update on my candy bar power rankings. And then he posted something about something that I tweeted last week. 2 weeks ago, I was down in lovely Fort Wayne, Indiana for the Bill Hensley Memorial Run-In Slam All-Star Classic. It's an AAU tournament. I posted some things, some video of some recruits. And I kind of deadpanned and mentioned that I was going to have to think about it for a couple weeks, but I might be prepared to announce that I have a new favorite candy bar. Take 5 has been my favorite candy bar for the better part of 10 years. Excellent candy bar. Underrated candy bar. It's not only my favorite candy bar, it's also the most underrated candy bar in the history of mankind. You got a salt situation there and a pretzel, chocolate-covered pretzel, and some caramel going on. Not much more. You got salt, the pretzel, salt, caramel, chocolate. Simple and tremendous. I don't eat Take 5 anymore because I gave up gluten. After years and years of figuring out what was bothering me, gave it up. Better off without it now. But I miss Take 5. What I like are, I like Cars, made in Detroit. Originated in Detroit, 1930-something? You know, Cars. It's a little bag, it's got peanuts in there, and M&M's, raisins, salt from the peanuts. You get the salt mixed in with the raisins and the M&M's and the sunflower seeds, and it's just goodness. It's just wonderful. I like it because I can't have those at home because we have a peanut allergy in the family. So if I'm going to enjoy Cars, it's on the road. I'm like driving to Happy Valley or something, hitting Cars, cleaning everything out so I don't get any contamination going on. But keep that to a minimum. That's one reason I like Cars so much, because it's kind of something I can't have all the time. In the same family, you got your Payday with the peanuts, salted caramel, and all that stuff. That's a great one. One of the all-time greats. Again, it's something I can't have on a normal everyday basis. Not that I'm eating candy bars all the time. I eat candy bars when I drive, like more than a couple hours by myself, have to go somewhere. Conradike will tell you. Conradike's always like, Comparoni, you're going to be fat, man, the way you eat candy bars. He thinks I eat candy bars like all the time. I only eat candy bars when we're road tripping. And if we're road tripping, there's going to be peanuts involved. Sorry. So the Payday's always been solid. And I was in Fort Wayne, and I saw something called the chocolate-covered Payday. And I heard angels singing. I was like, what is that? And I tried it, and it was as good as I thought. It's good. I wonder if they'll ever have a dark chocolate Payday. Then we're all going to go streaking by the Diag. Is what's going to happen if that ever happens. I'm not sure if the chocolate-covered Payday is available just anywhere, or if it's a test market in Indiana. I'm not sure. But I got one in Fort Wayne, and then I went back the next week to the Rivals camp in Indianapolis, and I got another one. And I'm ready to report today that the chocolate-covered Payday is now number one in my candy bar power rankings, moving ahead of the Take 5. I still think the Take 5 is probably better, but it's no longer in my wheelhouse. It's not available to me anymore. So it's got an asterisk there a little bit. It's almost like the Take 5 is on probation in my rankings. Remember back in the old days, like there'd be like a national champion in the Associated Press, and then number one in the UPI would be SMU, asterisk, on probation. Remember those days? Same thing. Question number 4 from PVB Spartan from Capodimile, Italia. He says, I will not be listening live as it will be 3 a.m. here in Italy. We'll catch the replay on YouTube. Grazie. Grazie to you. I wish I could speak more right now. My man, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, he says, any clarification on Aligo? He's not changed his Twitter profile as of yet. Where is he going? We just must mention this on the Underground Bunker message board that a job opening was posted officially at Michigan State. The position that Aligo has held, what was it? Director of Player Personnel. There's some indications there might be something going on with Kansas. I'm not sure. Nothing official yet, but I did confirm it with someone else that he was moving on. But clarification, I don't know. Maybe there'll be an official announcement at some point. Not sure. Russell Bird 0 says, how do you think Harold Joyner will be utilized? Harold Joyner, the transfer from running back. They will utilize him as a football player. I know that he was listed as an athlete when he went to Auburn, but he tried tailback there. Had some moments. Michigan State's bringing him in, expecting him to compete for the running back job, and they feel that if he's good enough to win the running back job, they will feel great about their running back room. They feel good about Kenneth Walker. They feel good about Jordan Simmons. And Simmons has to take it up a notch because that room has gotten better. He became the number 1 running back last year as a true freshman. But now Eli Collins is back after last year being slowed by COVID. It's the real Eli Collins again. Kenneth Walker is no joke. And if Harold Joyner comes in and he's as good as they hope he is, hey, there's competition there. And, it's big boy football. And when you have that kind of competition, Harold Joyner left Auburn because competition was as such. That running back situation, it's crowded. England is looking all right. Probably not enough playing time for all of them to remain happy, I wouldn't think, in today's nature of football. Not a bad problem for Michigan State right now. Let me go over here to the comments section, check it out, and see what kind of nonsense is going on over here with you guys. Old Tuck was the first one to chime in, and we're not doing phone calls today. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to be blabbering. We'll bring the phone calls back at some point, but not tonight. Old Tuck says the bell cow is here. Good to have Old Tuck. Kenneth Roberts, watching from Sarasota, Florida. John G says, hey, Jim. John from Mason, Michigan, drinking Powerade Zero. Old Tuck says, Crouch looked like a good-sized human in that Twitter picture. I've not seen the Twitter picture yet. I was out doing some things, so I know when the players checked in and moved in and enrolled. I guess they didn't enroll, but when they reported to campus, there are pictures out there on Twitter. I've not seen them yet, but Crouch, hey, these guys are 4-star specimens coming in, a lot of these guys. Noah Sprunger says, evening, folks. So that's your starting 5. You got Old Tuck in the middle. You got Noah Sprunger at the point. Kenneth Roberts on the wing. John G's your stretch 4. And Brian V, I forgot to mention. Brian V is running the small forward. Says, hey, y'all, great to be here. Excited to chat some Michigan State sports. Thank you to Brian. Don Strait, thanks to him again. Thanks to Brad Hoos for your contributions. And when you do a personal sponsorship, throw a question in there. I've got to remember, if there's a personal sponsorship, your question goes at the top. I try to remember that. Anyway, Brad Hoos says, who are you seeing as a replacement for Scott Aligo? Scott Aligo is the guy we just talked about a moment ago. Michigan State's Director of Player Personnel. Moving on, apparently, because the job is open. Who do I see? I had never heard of Scott Aligo before. And Directors of Player Personnel nationwide are normally people we've never heard of. So it's going to be some clerical guy that's I would imagine pretty good at combination of organizing things, organizing film scouting for himself, but also for the scouts. Someone that hands off scouting duties. I'm not expecting that guy to be a Gil Brandt power scout type of guy. It's more of a, as far as I know, it's more of a organizational type of thing. So I don't know. I don't know who that might be. Don Strait says, Don is in house enjoying an Oberon right now. Oberon made in Michigan. That's Kalamazoo beer, correct? Good for you, Don. And Don is a beer connoisseur. Don't mess with Don when he starts talking about in-state beer. So I'm sure he knows his stuff. Old Tuck from Austin, Texas says, if Rocket cannot shoot from the perimeter, is an average finisher, and an average to below passer and defender, why are we surprised he has not garnered more portal interest? Great point, Old Tuck. Great point. And if that ding, if I could do it quicker, like a game show ding, 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 would be somewhere, but it's not quick enough. I would say he's better than a below-average defender, you mentioned. When he's on, he's a good defender. But, yeah. You saw it. Average finisher, average shooter, maybe below-average shooter statistically. Below-average passer for a point guard. So, yeah, I don't think... I was curious to see what kind of programs would be interested. And there was some scuttlebutt that he might be mentioning where he was going to be headed on Friday. Friday came and went, and he never released anything. So that one is still up in the air. We've got a question about that over in the mailbag area we will get to shortly. Hayden Vischer says, little background shimmer. Yeah, I think I bumped something, and that caused that, I think. Hopefully it's not doing that anymore. Old Tuck says, I've also heard he's fairly fragile, and I've seen that he struggles to shake the AAU chuck it mentality. I'm not surprised. DePaul is his best option. Duly noted. Thank you, Old Tuck. Brad Vashenko checking in from Austin, Texas. We've got 2 people from Austin. Kevin Warren. I said David Warren. Kevin Warren. Thank you. David Warren is what? The coach at... he's a coach. My bad. Rob South says, what's up, fellas? Spartan MD says, hey, hey, hey. Spartan MD with his Fat Albert impersonation. Old Tuck says, Mason County. Do we feel like Garvin could be displaced by the combination of the Bama kid, Kimbrough, Lowry, and Crump? Kalen Gervin. I think it's possible. I mentioned that earlier. Kalen Gervin has just been kind of functional at corner. Hot and cold, hit and miss. It's not been great. Michigan State's going to be expecting better than that at the corner position. And if those other guys are not better, that'd be a disappointment. So someone has to take it up a level, up above the level that Gervin showed last year. Maybe Kalen Gervin can do it, and if he cannot, it needs to be one of those other guys. One way or another, that both of the corner positions need to be better than what Gervin's been so far. And maybe Gervin has it in him. I have to wait and see. Jacob Terry says, beautiful day on campus. Saw the Kirk family leaving Scandalaris. Yeah, A.J. Kirk, hard-hitting safety from Ohio, was originally expected to enroll early and be part of spring practice. I think he is the most underrated, undervalued member of the incoming recruiting class. Hard hitter, and he's going to make an impact. And you know those Ohio kids are always well coached. Dan Weslowski says, if you had to compare Ronald Williams to a former Michigan State defensive back, who is the closest comparable you can think of? He's big corner, quick feet. You know, I've watched some of his high school film. I didn't see any of his junior college film. Ask me that again in a couple weeks. I'll take another look at it. But, you know, you're talking a big guy. When I think big corners, I don't know, I'm going to have to table that one for a while. All right, let's get back. And also, yeah, like Don Strait says, give us some thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done it before. Thumbs up, that's good for our the algorithms. Try to get some other Michigan State fans and addicts to join the fun. All right, let's, what just happened here? All right, here we go. Get back to the questions. All right, here's the big question. Here's the big one. This is the essay question, worth 25% of the grade. MSU analyst says, he says, rank each unit below in terms of your best guess for 2021 based on our current knowledge, or your current knowledge. I'm going to pause for a minute, rest my brain for a second. I will say this, drove through East Lansing Friday evening, drove through East Lansing today, and when you're back on campus this fall, some of you were back on campus for the Green Light game, you may have seen that the buildings that have gone up downtown East Lansing completely changed the look down there. I think it's pretty exciting. There's a lot of, I'd say, upper scale apartments going in there. There's a complex there that's supposed to be for like retirees, which is interesting. I think that'll lead to some better restaurant options downtown. But there's some interesting new ones. I mean, you're familiar with Hopcat and Fieldhouse. Now there's, what's the Pumpkin Place or something? Pumpkin something or other, some sort of brewery grill thing. And then there's the Tacos, Tequila, and Whiskey Place. I think that's what it's called, Tacos, Tequila, and Whiskey. It's like right across from Harper's or, you know, Sensations, if you will, Dooley's. Across the street from there, and it's open air. The garage door goes up. You have tables out on the sidewalk and down the alley for outdoor eating, which is a thing now. But the bar is open air, Not in the winter or fall, of course, but it is now, and it's inviting. I've not been there yet, but I might have to go down there and get in the way. It looks inviting. And Uber home, of course. It's different down there. It's changed. And I like it. And I'm hoping that those businesses really get rolling here when the students are back. Right now, students are gone, which is the time of year that I kind of like, so I can go in there and kind of snoop around a little bit more and not look like as much like creepy old guy. But looking forward to getting down there and snooping around a little bit. East Lansing, it'll look different next time you're back. MSU analyst, he says, rank each player group below and your best guess for how they're going to compete or play in 2021 based on your current knowledge of each position. 4 categories. Are they championship Big Ten level, winning Big Ten level, serviceable Big Ten level, or below average Big Ten level? Those are the 4 categories that MSU analyst is giving me, position by position. Championship, winning, serviceable, below average. Quarterback. I'm going to say whoever wins the battle between Peyton Thorne and Russo by mid-October, if it's Thorne, is going to be a winning Big Ten level quarterback. That doesn't mean great. Winning quarterback is... Brian Lewerke was a winning Big Ten quarterback. Okay? He had some great moments. All right, just thinking about quarterbacks here. But I think the winner of the Russo-Thorne battle is going to be a winning quarterback. And Noah Kim showed a little something in that green-white game, did he not? But I think quarterback will be winning Big Ten level. I'm not sure they'll be that good at Miami early in the year. Russo's a fifth-year senior. He needs to be there, but does he have everything together? I don't know. You know, Thorne got first-string status ahead of Russo in the green-white game. Might be a little bit ahead of him, based on my read. But Russo statistically outproduced Thorne in that game. 6 out of 9 for 86 yards compared to Thorne 4 out of 8 for 19 yards. Thorne's longest completion only went for 7 yards. And I like Peyton Thorne. I didn't realize the stats had that much of a disparity until I went back over it. But whoever wins that, I think, is a winning level quarterback. Running back, Kenneth Walker. I mean, I thought he was a winning level running back at Wake Forest. Not great, but you can win with him. If he's beaten out by Eli Collins, 900 yards as a redshirt freshman, he's already established himself as a winning level running back, in my opinion. And then if Harold Joyner is better than those two, it's a good thing. Then are you encroaching upon that championship level? I don't close the door on that possibility of running back. Wide receiver, maybe I'm being conservative on this, but I'm still going to say winning. You know, Jaden Reed wearing number 1 now looks good in that number 1, right? Naylor, he's got to stay healthy. You know, and let me see here. Trey Mosley. Trey Mosley, you know, had an okay sophomore year after a very encouraging freshman year. The other guys, you know, C.J. Hayes, Lockett, Stewart. Then you have Malik Carr coming in. Maybe not, you know, a great logjam of competitive depth there. But if it's Patrick coming in, I'm going to say winning Big Ten level at wide receiver. Tight end is below average Big Ten. Gillison, still waiting for him to really gain traction. Started last year, then he missed the last 3 games. Tyler Hunt, great athlete in a lot of ways. Functional tight end. Serviceable, not yet. I'm going to say below average Big Ten. For a program that really wants to utilize the tight end position, Michigan State does not have the tools there right now. And still waiting for them to put people together. You know, Malik Carr, is he going to be a tight end? I don't know. Wide receiver, hybrid. Do you put him in there as a big wide receiver and run a tight bunch with him part of it? Probably. But in terms of tight ends, they want people like that. They don't have it. Tight ends coach is Ted Gilmore. He's in charge of acquiring talent for his own position, and they're still in the process of doing that. But that position has kind of been treading water for 14 months there. Offensive line, I'm going to say it's been below average, Michigan State, the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm going to say it's still below average until proven otherwise. Now, Horst, I said I was going to talk a little bit about Horst. Jarrett Horst, transfer from Arkansas State. Went back and watched him a little bit, and this is where the green-white game is valuable. Now, I was not able to really zoom in and really dissect the matchup, but I had Horst in my notes 3 times he went against Drew Beasley. We know Drew Beasley is a good, solid Big Ten defensive end. 6th-year senior, all-time sacks and tackle for loss leader at Warren De La Salle. And I would go as far as to say I wouldn't be surprised if Beasley, if he plays, 75% of the plays this year, I think he could be a guy that gets 6, 7, 8 sacks. I think he might be able to do that. Pretty good defensive end. So Horst is coming in from Arkansas State, was a good offensive tackle at Arkansas State. In the green-white game, Horst played left tackle. A.J. Arcuri was out for unknown reasons, probably just keeping him healthy. Kevin Jarvis was over at right tackle. Jarvis has played guard in the past. I do think Horst was good enough in the green-white game. I would expect him to start at tackle this fall. Possibly at right tackle and Arcuri at left tackle. Maybe you keep Horst at left side, move Arcuri to the right side. I think Arcuri's better than Horst, but I think Horst is good enough to bump Jarvis inside, which could make the whole offensive line better. I don't know if we'll get any verification on that prior to the season opener, but Horst was, I thought, pretty solid. When Horst went against Michael Fletcher, which was many of his reps, Michael Fletcher's not a great pass rusher. Fletcher shows up once in a while, reasonably good against the run for a long, lean guy, and when he's chasing something down from behind, good straight line speed. Somewhat physical, aggressive, he's got a motor, but he's not a guy that can really bend the corner. And I said that about him from the t-shirt camps. And when Horst went against Fletcher, Horst really neutralized him. Fletcher never really got off of him, never really exploded to the outside and made him hustle, never had counter moves, never was great with disengagement, didn't get the hip outside, he was just a guy, and Horst blocked him with little problem. Now, when Horst went against Beasley 3 times, one time Beasley got like a half step on him with a good head and shoulder fake inside and then an arm over to the outside, and Horst stabbed him and then got behind by a half body length and ran his feet really well, caught up, and was pushing him behind the quarterback as the ball came out. That was an incompletion, I think, from Thorne to one of the walk-ons. But it was a nice little rep, Horst versus Beasley. Beasley, like I said, half step on him, pretty good move. But Horst ran his feet pretty well to make up that gap. You don't always want to get behind on these people, but Beasley with a good initial. All right, 2 plays later, 3rd and 10, went deep, incomplete for McDonald. Dowell was in coverage on that play. Horst versus Beasley again. Stabbed him, and Beasley maybe got a quarter step lead on him. Horst might have been a quarter step behind, but that lateral movement, sliding his feet, caught up again. I'd say that Horst was above average, sliding his feet laterally. I thought that was good. 3rd time, Horst was good initially, this time against Beasley. Then Beasley was stunting inside and was kind of sliding off, and Horst was staying with him. And he was sliding off of Horst as Thorne got rid of it. If there had been live contact on the quarterback, Horst might have given up a quarterback hit to Beasley. Might not have knocked him down, maybe a bump. So I'm not saying Horst dominated Beasley. It was a good matchup, but that lateral movement was pretty good by Horst. In terms of things, I'm going to factor that into the offensive line with this question. I think Horst is going to start. I think he's good enough to start. And that's just saw one scrimmage. I'm not in practice every day, so I'm not sure. but I think that was good. I think that was constructive. Horst. So the offensive line, I thought Matt Allen looked okay. And Samac was second string. And I thought Matt Allen was moving around pretty solidly. That's going to be a great competition. And Matt Allen last year did not go the way he wanted it to, neither did the year before. Matt Allen played hurt against Rutgers, struggled, sat out the rest of the year. Wanted to come back, he's back. He looked like the best version of Matt Allen I've seen. Now we need to see him against Miami Hurricanes and some of these other guys, see if he can stay healthy and so forth. But I think you've got a better center than last year. And Samac's going to keep getting better, but Allen might be better than him. I think that they'll be better at guard because Jarvis is going to move in. I think Horst will be better than Jarvis at right tackle if he plays on the right side. Our Curry keeps getting better if he stays healthy. Carrick, Duplain. I'll tell you what, Duplain didn't play in the green-white game. We know he's pretty solid. But Jarvis inside should be a better guard than their guards last year. And then a competition for the other guard. Duplain, Carrick. Ohanba's not bad. So, individually, they should be okay, right? I've heard that collectively that it was a little bit of a disappointment this spring. But, so I'm still going to say below average Big Ten right now until proved otherwise. I would hope they would get to serviceable Big Ten at least. That's what I was expecting last year. Did not happen. Kapilovic, at some point, I think will get it done. Very well respected offensive line coach. Let him get his own guys in. Develop those guys at his clip. And at some point, future's good in offensive line. Not sure if the future is now, though. Defensive end, I'm going to say serviceable. I like Panashuk. I think he'll be better now that he doesn't have COVID. I think Beasley is pretty good. Fletcher is solid in some ways. But you don't have that terrifying pass rusher still. You know, you've got Drew Jordan coming in from Duke. He's got some size. I don't know. I don't think I got a chance to really zoom in on him during the green-white game. I've mentioned it before. I zoomed in on him in the Duke, North Carolina game. He got moved off the line of scrimmage against double-team blocking. That needs to get better, especially for a big dude at 6'3", 285. But I don't see Jordan. I mean, he's got like 6 or 7 career sacks. I mean, I don't expect him to be a better pass rusher than Panashuk or Beasley. I just don't. Petrowski, sophomore from Ohio, shows some things here and there. Now, can Avery Dunn come in and be a defensive end, give him some pass rush? What is he, 6'4", 235 now? He's still maturing into his body. Did not see him in the green-white game. They've tried Brandon Wright. I'm not expecting Brandon Wright to save any lives there as a pass rusher. So defensive end, there's some maturity there. Jack Camper's there. I think Panashuk and Beasley are pretty good, but not plus players. And I think you need plus players to be winning Big Ten. I'm going to say defensive end is still serviceable, borderline winning level. And these are things, guys, that we're going to be talking about all the way to August. So if you guys don't mind, in the month of May, formulating what this roster depth chart might look like, we'll be repeating this quite often. I mean, this is an essay question that MSU analyst asked me, and we're really cutting to the chase on these things, as best as we know, from the evidence that we have available to us. Defensive tackle, I think it's winning Big Ten level. Deshaun Mallory, he's cut some weight, looks good. Jalen Hunt looks good. You've got Jacob Slade, played quite a bit last year. Solid. Maverick Hansen was kind of like that 2 or 3 play per game guy. Now he's a sophomore at 6'4", 310. But I don't think he's as good as Simeon Barrow is going to be. I like Maverick Hansen. I think Simeon Barrow is an on-the-rise guy on this roster. That was the biggest surprise from the spring game, in my opinion. Was not expecting that from that young man. 3 quarterback hurries. I'd have to go back to watch. I have to watch it again to see if they ran the ball. There weren't many running plays in this game, but I want to see him take out some run blocking, see what he looked like there before I anoint him as like second string extraordinaire. Linebackers, I'm going to say, not counting the portal, they're slightly less than serviceable if you're going with Noah Harvey and Chase Klein. Harvey, still trying to learn the system, learn to be as effective two-gapping as he is one-gapping. So he's not really two-gapping. Well, I guess he is. The linebacker is responsible for two of them. So, or maybe 75% here, 25% there. When he's one-gapping, to pull the pin and go and be more aggressive, like he did earlier in his career. That's what he learned earlier in his career. He feels he's getting better at both of those, and Michigan State will do both. But still, Noah Harvey. Klein makes some noisy plays here and there. Halliday had a noisy spring, looking pretty good as a freshman at 6'1", 225. Klein didn't play in the spring game, but you've got Harvey, Halliday, and Klein. You got Hightower's gone. DeMarzo's still around. Then you bring in the portal guys. Crouch, Van Sumeren, Tank. Van Sumeren was pretty good as a red zone guy. When he was in at Michigan, when he was in games, they usually went 30, 3-4, 30 with two gapping up front in front of him. So he's got a lot of mass to him. If he runs well, that can be a good thing. But from a linebacker standpoint, you have to be able to run well, right? You have to be able to run well. No secret there. But Van Sumeren played behind two gapping defensive linemen last year as part of his usual, the Van Sumeren package. When he came in, they went from 4-3 to 3-4. He's playing behind two gapping nose tackle. They didn't have the nose tackles to play at 3-4, but they tried it anyway. Michigan. So Van Sumeren, I think, can do that read and react to gapping linebacker. Red zone and so forth. So he's interesting. Crouch, I mean, big time talent. You got to believe he's going to be coming in and starting, right? Crouch and Harvey, maybe Crouch and Klein. Van Sumeren coming in here and there. Throw it all together, I think they've improved their linebacker situation. Physical maturity, some experience. Now those guys got to come together, learn the defense, get the chemistry together, the camaraderie together, and play tied together football. Can't have a bunch of just individuals flying all over the place. You'll end up looking like Ron Zook's Illini team from a few years ago when they all got fired. So you need talent tied together. That's where the coaching is going to come in. So where does the linebacker group fall on MSU analysts' scale? I'm not going to say championship level. Winning Big Ten linebackers, I'm not going to say impossible. I'm going to say serviceable for now, with a high ceiling toward winning level at the linebacker position. Courtesy of the portal, and only the portal. We got rid of Hightower, got rid of... is Hightower still around? Is he still around? I might have misspoke on that. Josiah Robinson's gone. Someone can text me on that. It's been a little bit hard to keep track of all this stuff. And sometimes I keep track of it, but I'm kind of that age where I forget it then. But anyway, let's see. Yeah, maybe Hightower's back. I can't remember. Mayfield's gone. Josiah Robinson's gone. Diari Todd. Kaler. Guardo. I guess Hightower's still around. My bad. All right, anyway. Defensive backs. I don't see Hightower, whether he's here or not. I don't see him in the picture right away at this point. Sorry I blew that one. It's live radio. It's not live if you're watching it on tape, but you know what I mean. Corners, until proven otherwise, below average. You got Kalen Gervin, and you've got portal guys. You know, Crumpf, Lowry, these guys were not starting at their places. Kimbrough was second string at Florida. Maybe he'll be pretty good. I'm not sure. Williams coming in from Alabama. When he was healthy, he played. Had an arm injury, missed 4 games. I'm going to say below average at corner until proven otherwise, with a ceiling up to winning level. But I'm not here. You know, some people will get all excited when you bring in a new portal guy and talk like, Man, it's great. Let's throw a party. We got great players now. It's on. We're great. We got this guy that we've never seen him before, but he's got to be great because we've never seen him before. He's got to be great. And he's from that program and that program. So they're great. So let's throw a party. No. I mean, we might have more subscribers if I did it that way. If I, shot flare guns and had a big celebration. And some people, if you guys were like Michigan fans, would believe that BS every time I threw it out there. But we kind of aim for credibility a little bit more than that. I'm more of a need to see it to believe it type of guy. Once in a while, there'll be a new guy coming in, and I might say, okay, this guy's got a real good chance to hit the ground running, traction, all those things. Corners, got to see it to believe it. Safety, Xavier Henderson is going to be pretty good. Angelo Gross moving out to safeties, interesting. Kind of got caught inside out in the spring game, gave up a play, but he played in that nickel area last year. Real good player. Might not have all the pure, quick, hip turn, foot speed to play corner with his ability to play with physicality. They moved him to safety. Could be a good home for him. I have to believe that if Gross continues to learn how to play that safety position there with Henderson, I have to believe the combination of Henderson and Gross at safety should be serviceable to winning level. You got to believe it should be winning, right? Henderson should be ready to take it up. And after Gross's freshman year, he should take up a level. Oh, I'm going to say that should be winning. I'd be disappointed if it's not a winning level at safety. So there's that. All right, man, that was a lot. MSU analyst said, thanks for bringing back SpartanMag Live. This is what do you think the realistic ceiling is for wins? I'm going to table that question we got all summer to talk about that. Ben from Spring Arbor, Michigan says, what was the second most unexpected moment you witnessed in the Dantonio era? He says, I'm assuming the cluster punt is number one. He throws out some suggestions like beating Ohio State the Rose Bowl year, the Little Giants play, the Rocket play, Tyler O'Connor and Damian Terry winning in the horseshoe or beating Michigan last year. He says, we sure have been spoiled with some great moments in the last decade plus. Those are some interesting moments. I would say, the day that Michigan State went down to Ohio State with Tyler O'Connor, without Connor Cook, the year that Michigan State went to the college football playoff and upset Ohio State. All things considered, it was 13-10. Was it Geiger that hit the field goal, the windmill celebration? Before the game, we didn't know for sure that Cook was going to be out. I remember being there and videotaping as Cook and the players got off the bus and went into the stadium. We posted the video on Underground Bunker, just boots on the ground type of thing, watching pregame, and it looked like Cook wasn't going to be the guy. I mean, if we had known all week that Cook was not going to play, I don't think anybody would have picked Michigan State to win that game. Some people gave Michigan State a chance because we didn't know. Some of us might have thought that Cook was going to play. Didn't play. Tyler O'Connor. Knowing what we know about Tyler O'Connor and Damian Terry now, it was all O'Connor, by the way. It wasn't Terry, right? I mean, O'Connor came in as the next year and struggled and lost his job the following year to Lewerke, I think. I mean, at that time, O'Connor was a young guy on the rise. So when he won that game, it's like, okay, he's the next really good quarterback at Michigan State, probably. But knowing what we know now about O'Connor, that he never quite got the job done at quarterback and lost his job. Look, at the time that was a big upset, and even more of an upset now when you think that it was O'Connor who did it. I mean, Michigan State's defense was great that day, and was it Ezekiel Elliott complained that he did not get the ball enough. I think Michigan State might have worked some reverse espionage that day also. We'll talk about that at a later time, some other year. Can't talk about it yet. But anyway, I'm going to go with that one, beating Ohio State that year in 2015. Beating Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship in 2013, I was surprised that day. I picked Ohio State to win. Ohio State was very good. They were thinking they were going to go to the national championship game. But the way that game ended, when Michigan State went up by double digits with that Jeremy Langford touchdown run, that inside run, was that a third down play? Michigan State's leading, had the big lead. Ohio State came back. Michigan State came back, won the game, took the lead. But then that touchdown to put it on ice, to go up double digits, I didn't see that coming. Scoring 40 whatever it was against them, 30 whatever it was. Sending Urban Meyer to the golf cart with the pizza, all that stuff. I expected Ohio State to win that game. That was a surprise that Michigan State won, to win by double digits, and to put a hole in them at the end with the TKO blow of the run play was pretty amazing. And one of the all-time pinnacle moments of the Dantonio era. One of the pinnacle moments of the current century of Michigan State football since the turn of the century. All right. Got some other questions here, but we're going to move on. Let's keep it short tonight and move over here. Let's go over to the lightning round. Some of these questions over here in the comments area. We appreciate all the questions over at the bunker. All right, one more question. Who was it? Sherlock H. from Sterling Heights says, hockey question, is Danton Cole the answer for Michigan State? He says, I expect a little bit more after Tom Anastas. He says, Anastas, 6 seasons, .402 winning percentage. Danton Cole, 4 seasons, .381 winning percentage. I was surprised, are you? Yeah, I'm surprised this year. I expected them to be more competitive. Season went off the cliff, and can't remember what their final record was, but not good. I think Danton Cole is the guy. Stick with him. Let him work his plan his work, do his thing. Takes a long time to get the ship righted in hockey. I know Penn State did it overnight. Arizona State did it overnight. But you got the big rig, the big freighter going. You got to turn it around. You got to prove that you can develop players to get the top recruits. Now, lost a couple players to the portal, but it's my understanding that Michigan State is recruiting over their heads, including Tommy Miller, who was one of the captains. He's in the portal. My understanding this guy coming in, David Gucciardi from Toronto, USHL guy from Waterloo. I think, the ice time for some of those other guys was going to be limited. There's Brody Stevens in the portal too. But, yeah, expected better, and it's not good, but he's the guy. He's been here. He knows it. Knows the landscape. Turn him loose with the new facilities for a while. Let him recruit his guys. And you play the long game with him. That's what I think. Bill from Byron Center. What are you hearing about the June visits? Are these just for official visits or unofficial as well? This is still materializing. June official visits are underway. Will be starting shortly. And the visits are pinned at the Underground Bunker message board. And we will be adding to that list as it goes. There will be unofficial visits as well, and some camp visits coming up. So recruiting in June, it's going to be a different landscape. Looking forward to checking it out over there at SpartanMag.com. Question from Alan from Charlevoix says, where do you think Rocket Watts will land? You hear things about DePaul. That sounds about right to me, DePaul. And yeah, I'm not afraid to say it, that there was some interest on Rocket's behalf to come back. Talked about, but Michigan State, if he's going to come back, you'd have to tell him, look, dude, you started this past year, most of the year. If you come back, you need to understand there's a good chance you won't be starting. And you're going to need to work on your game more, and you have to improve these other ways. Just tough situation. Sola from Westland, Michigan says, do you think Ronald Williams is the projected starter already, or is he not as good as his star rating from high school? Too early to say. Looks good to me. Looks like a guy that Nick Saban would recruit, which he did. Frame, all those things. But you got to show up. I'm not saying he won't show up. It's good coming from Alabama because, if you spent a year at Alabama, it's like you spent a year at military school. So, probably a good thing for him. Yeah, I think Ronald Williams has a real good chance to start. I'd have to say I'd be disappointed if he doesn't start, right? In terms of raw ability, he's got to be one of the best guys in the room there, if not the best. Let's go over here to the comments section for other questions. Don Strait says, come on, folks. Start giving some thumbs up on your YouTube feed. Thanks, Don. How many thumbs ups do we have right now? We got 31. Sounds good. Old Tuck, Justin Lane or Brian Brighton? Justin Lane would be an interesting comparison to Ronald Williams. That's a good one. That's who I was trying to think of, a big corner. that can really run. Justin Lane, all kinds of talent, right? Brian Brighton, that's Old Tug being a funny guy. Brian Brighton, where was he from? Allen Park, had some speed, was corner, never got on the field, whatever. That was Brian Brighton late Saban era, early Bobby Williams, I think. Cameron Trigg says, what Michigan State basketball 22 prospects is Izzo recruiting the hardest? You know, there's the Washington kid from Gary. They like him. He likes Michigan State. He likes Purdue. I think Indiana's coming on strong there. So, Max Christie is there. The guard from Rolling Meadows, Illinois. Michigan State with recruiting, they are going to start leaving some openings for the portal. They're doing it. They brought in the kid, Tyson Walker. He won't be the last one. 2022, Kijani Wright, 6'8", 220 out of Los Angeles, Windward High School, ranked the number 10 player in the country. He's the best player Michigan State's in on for 2022. My sources tell me USC could be hard to beat, but I'm hearing there's some people in his camp that like USC, and there's some that like Michigan State. He recruited Michigan State. Michigan State doesn't recruit out west much, but this kid pursued Michigan State, so Michigan State reciprocated. So nothing's going to happen there until there's some visits. So I think that one could gear up here. Jalen Washington, they like him. Number 24 player in the country. He's got some shooting ability, moves around pretty well. We ran some video of him, I think, from the run and slam in Fort Wayne. You hear he's number 24 in the country, and he's 6'8", and you might see highlights of him making every shot because every highlight film, you never see someone miss shots on highlight films, right? But he's not the sturdiest guy. He's 17 years old. So do not expect Jalen Washington to look like a combination of Dirk Nowitzki and Karl Malone if you ever see him play. He's a young guy. He can shoot it well, and he's 6'8". Like I said, Indiana's in there, Purdue's in there, Michigan State's in there. Isaac Trout's a guy they're going after pretty hard, 6'9" power forward from Grand Island, Nebraska, ranked number 61 in the country. State's doing pretty good with him. I've not heard much about Terrace Reed or A.J. Casey lately, but in the backcourt, Jaden Shutt is a 6'5" shooter from Yorkville, Illinois. Ranked, borderline 150. I had an article about him at SpartanMag.com a couple days ago. Illinois is in there. Oklahoma's in there. Michigan State's in there. Shooter. Kind of, I try to compare him to people that's within your frame of reference. I'm not going to compare him to somebody who plays for Fresno State that you might not be familiar with. He's in that category of that athletic shooter. Jumps pretty well. Needs to get stronger. But he made 17 3-pointers in one game, busting his zone as a sophomore in Illinois. I compared him a little bit to Matt McQuaid. McQuaid was a good athlete, but McQuaid was wiry strong, and he hit the weights hard at Michigan State and had some strength to him and had some reasonably quick feet, jumped well. You saw that against Duke when he threw it down. So that's the ceiling of athletic potential that Shutt can aspire to. I think Shutt is a better shooter than McQuaid was in high school. Now, McQuaid was a streak shooter for 3 years, became a plus shooter as a senior at Michigan State. McQuaid was an okay ball handler. I think Shutt might be a better ball handler. But I think McQuaid, so far, is a little better athlete, got some strength. Shutt has to add that strength. Trayvon Lewis from Ferndale, I don't think Michigan State's offered yet, 6'5". He's got to add some toughness to his game as well. Trayvon Holloman, 6'2", 180 out of St. Paul, Minnesota. State likes him. He's a football player as well. It's tough to get a read on him. Sonny Wilson is a lead guard from Detroit Jesuit. R.J. Taylor, point guard from Grand Blanc. They like him. They're 2023s. Braylon Green is 2023 from Ypsilanti Lincoln. They just offered him. Cam Christie's actually 2023. Curtis Williams is 2023. So 2022's not a lot of great in-state talent that year for Michigan State. They'll be looking in the portal. And they might go the distance with Kijani Wright. They're hopeful on Washington. Trout got a shot. So those are some of them. All right. Brad Fashenko, the Florida State commitment. I don't know what you're talking about. Spartan MD says, Don, you're right about the thumbs up. Need to help JC's algorithm. Thank you very much. We're up to 37 thumbs ups now. Don Straight says, hell yeah, Comp deserves it. Thanks, Don Straight. Spartan MD says, most YouTubers will kill for the amount of content JC puts out there. Thank you. Chris Trinum says, greetings from the streets of Philadelphia. Springsteen song, right? Did you guys see the Springsteen Broadway thing on Netflix? Some of you big ballers, you might have went and seen it live. For old people like me, I thought it was pretty good. Pretty interesting. I'm glad he's kind of kept it together because you can tell you can tell from his writing over the years, he's a depressing type of guy. I'm glad he's kept it together. That was pretty good. When he started talking about that tree back in his old neighborhood that was cut down, I can see that. That was pretty good. Noah says, Three Musketeers. Three Musketeers? Are you serious? Three Musketeers candy bar? Come on, man. Noah's on one hand, I'm kind of glad to hear a current college guy going with an old school favorite like Three Musketeers. But I mean, to me, Three Musketeers is just an overdose of nougat. Nougat. I like the word nougat. I like nougat in a candy bar, but it can't be like that much nougat. The amount of nougat in a Milky Way is good. Milky Way is basically Snickers without peanuts, am I wrong? You got your caramel, you got your nougat. I'm not exactly clear what nougat is. You know that scene in Elf, the Will Ferrell movie? When he talks about the three major news groups, three major food groups, candy corn, candy cane, and syrup, the four. That's funny. But far be it for me to rewrite a Will Ferrell. Candy corn, candy cane, that's great because it all rolls together. I think it would have been funnier if fourth would have been nougat. It wouldn't have fit the scene because on that scene he was putting syrup on spaghetti or something like that, right? But to me, the four food groups, if you're a candy connoisseur, candy cane, candy corn, and nougat. Spartan MD says, left Twix. The left Twix. I like Twix. I do. I'm not going to kid you. But it's off my radar, too. It's on probation. Tyler Love says, no love for whatchamacallit bar. Whatchamacallit was great. It's got a little peanutty thing in there, too. It's good. It's good. I'm not going to lie. Don Straight says, Milky Way Midnight, a.k.a. way back when, Forever Yours. I don't remember Forever Yours. Rings a bell. Kind of sounds like a Rod Stewart song. But I don't remember it as a candy bar. Milky Way Midnight. Is Milky Way Midnight a different... Is that like a Milky Way with dark chocolate or something? I could sign up for that. Chris Stazuk chimes in with Chunky Bar. Remember that thing? That was a bad mamma jamma. It was like a square inch by square inch. Chunky. I can't remember. There was like a peanut chunky and then there was something else. I always saw it there. And you'd see them at Halloween and stuff. But I can't remember. I don't think I've ever really... I don't remember. I can't really tell you what's in a chunky candy bar. Do they still exist? Gordon Tenona says, Nico Marshall has a cannon. He has more upside than A.J. Duffy. Marshall is the Florida State commitment who's going to be visiting Michigan State in June. A.J. Duffy's quarterback from Arizona. He's now at IMG. Considered Michigan State as a four-star guy, committed to Florida State. After he committed to Florida State, the other guy that was committed to Florida State jostled his recruitment loose. He's visiting Michigan State. How much of a shot does Michigan State have for some of those guys? I'll play it the same way I did with A.J. Duffy. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Chris L. Rucker talking about Detroit Spartan. Detroit Spartan mentioned Chris L. Rucker. Chris L. Rucker crossed my mind. Yeah, in terms of the Robinson kid from Alabama. Yeah, Justin Lane, L. Rucker. Big corner that can move his hips. I would say that category. Jolly Pumpkin and Barrio, Hayden Fisher says in downtown East Lansing. Pumpkin Patch. No comment. Spartan MD says, sensations brought bad, good memories. Did you mean to say brought back good memories? Or brought back bad memories? Or brought bad memories? Or bad good memories? Brought bad good memories. It's all par for sensations. Sensations. That place was great. Shut up. Come on now. For those of you that don't know, that would have been like mid to late 80s. It was a dance club type place. Occasionally they would have bands in there. Bob Harvey saw them in there. U2, Bono and the boys, they played. I don't know if it's called Sensations when they played there. That was before they became U2. It was a couple years before they hit it big. They played downstairs at Dooley's. I don't know if it's called Sensations then. But Sensations was sensational, right? Cheesy dance club with lax enforcement of the drinking age laws. Good memories, I'm going to say. Those that I can remember. Jerry Couts says, I worked at Michigan State for 35 years. I don't know what Jerry Couts means or wants from that, but good for you. Doors Fan 91 says, is it true Gilmore makes $1 million per year as tight ends coach? I don't know. Troy Spartan says no. Noah says $500,000. Noah's great with the facts. Noah Sprunger will look stuff up. He's the guy that found. He's good. He's good. He's a reporting sleuth. And he's just doing it for kicks because he's actually pre-med. Noah Sprunger is awesome. Jesse Adams, Jesse from Mount Pleasant. Do you think Keon Coleman could get some playing time this year? Is there news about Ricky White? We haven't heard anything about him this spring. Did he get in trouble? He says, keep up the great work. Hey, there's nothing official on Ricky White. Didn't play, was held out. That's all we know right now. But there's no news about him right now. There was, somebody had gotten in contact with his dad, put it on YouTube. His dad is optimistic. That's about all I know right now. But I hear it's a little more possibly favorable or optimistic than you might have thought, than I might have thought maybe 7 weeks ago. So we'll see. Keon Coleman coming in from Louisiana, 6'4", excellent athlete. I mean, he's signed and everything, but needs to. He's going to be high maintenance. He's going to be high maintenance. So, Saban was always pretty good at taking those high maintenance guys and rounding them into shape. Once upon a time, Plaxico Burress was high maintenance. Got her done. Once upon a time, Mateen Cleaves was high maintenance. Got her done. Keon Coleman is going to take some maintenance. Noah says Burton and Kapilovic are the only two position coaches making more than Gilmore. I didn't know that. Now, Kapilovic is associate head coach, right? Impressed with him. Burton, so they had to pay Burton more to keep him from going to Indiana. So that kind of makes sense. If you're in demand, that's what's going to happen. But they're the only two making more than Gilmore. Detroit Spartan says, Allen was battling injuries most of last season, Matt Allen. So Matt Allen only played in one game. He looked okay in the spring game. Jacob Terry says, is there any money from Ishbia allocated to Spartan Stadium? Not that I know of. I think he put it out there, he rolled it out there, and Izzo said a lot of it needs to go to football. Ishbia's like, okay, whatever you say, chief, coach. And but specifically, I'm not sure where it's all going. Oh, Naote, at linebacker coming in, 4-star linebacker. Yeah, he's going to be in there somewhere. I don't know if I would expect, and he's a 4-star guy, I don't know if I would expect him to supersede Harvey and Klein immediately. Got talent. We'll see. His senior film was a little bit better. I thought his junior film, he looked just a little bit like he needed a little more speed. Not Teote. Detroit Spartan says, no, there's a possibility that $2 to $4 million could be used for the stadium upgrades, but nothing major. Aiden Fisher says, Hightower is still here. Thank you. I got a little bit of a brain clog on Hightower. He was still in my revised depth chart, but something in the back of my head was thinking that he was gone. Then I did a quick search. Yeah, he's still here. That's why he's still on my revised summer depth chart. It's hard to keep them all straight. Older I get. Some of you guys know it. Boom, 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 boom. So I have to hustle to keep up with you guys. And I have to try to match and exceed to be a reporter. To be a, I don't want to say analyst, but and that goes back to rewind, watch the play again, watch the play again, watch the play again. Ask coaches about it. Rewind, watch it again. Just to get some semblance of a level of understanding that I can provide something worth consuming for their content at SpartanMag.com. It's not easy because you guys are sharp. Jacob Terry says, is not Teote outside or inside? He's inside. I don't think he's fast enough to be an outside guy. Detroit Spartan claps 100% about something. Spot on comp. I don't know what you're talking about. This is from a few hours ago. Jacob Terry says, LMAO. LMAO. Laughing my off. So true. You guys laughing about something. Can't remember what it was. Jacob Terry says, Ronald needs to make the younger guys around him better. Better give them some of that Bama knowledge. He'll come in with some good habits. You can't play there for half a year and not come away a sharper nail. Detroit Spartan says, beating Ohio State in the shoe was incredible. World-class coaching. Detroit Spartan says, the board was ready to crown Tyler O'Connor after that game. R. Joseph Williams says, did you see Gabe Brown torching Imani Bates in the Ipsy open run comp? No, I heard about it. I've not watched it yet, though. I'll have to backtrack. That just came out today, right? Those two guys are friends, and they work out a lot together. Bates' game has been great, and then he needs to crank it back up again, but I don't know. Gordon Tenoda says, I saw it. Gabe looked impressive. Gordon Tenoda says, I saw the boss at Mun Ice Arena, 1978. Wow. I didn't know that he played there. Roughly 5 years before he really hit it big. But that was after he was on the cover of Time and Newsweek, right? Or was it New Time? Mun Ice Arena. We talked about that Underground Bunker message board about a year and a half ago. What iconic guitar riff and song basically was written in Mun Ice Arena for a 100 Monopoly dollars? Go. See who knows it. Someone will know it. Detroit Spartan says, they don't make gluten-free Twix comp? I don't think so. I've not seen it. Dark chocolate, Detroit Spartan says. Dark chocolate in the Milky Way? Is that what that is? Coffee Crisp. You know, Coffee Crisp was right down my alley for a long time, but whatever. Dirty Dollar. I don't know what Dirty Dollar is. Detroit Spartan says, you mean a guy that accidentally shot himself in the nightclub after curfew was high maintenance? Plaxico? Yeah. Tenoda says, now that's funny stuff. I forgot what we were laughing about. I forgot what I was joking about. Patrick Sauer says, just to clarify, you don't believe Rocket is coming back. No, I don't. I think there was some interest on Rocket's behalf. Not necessarily the entire Rocket camp, but Rocket was kind of like interested in coming back. Michigan State was like, man, we love you, but, so that's what I hear. That's the word on the street. Anyway, I think we're all done. Nobody had the answer. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. We're going to wrap it up. It's been an hour and 45 minutes. It's been an enjoyable return back here to Spartan Mag Live with 42 thumbs ups. What's the plural for thumbs up? 42 thumbs ups? It's 42 thumbs up. Thanks to everyone for playing. Noah says there's some knockoff gluten-free Twix available. There is? Not aware of that. Anyway, hey, SpartanMag.com. Check us out. If you're not a subscriber, get over there, get involved, get addicted. You'll like it. Thanks to Noah Sprunger and all the help all the great people at SpartanMag.com, SpartanMag.com subscribers, the Maggers. Thanks to you for making it happen. Keeping it under 2 hours this time. We'll probably be back in about 3 weeks. Still busy with some other stuff throughout the month of May. I might fill you in on that later. But anyway, appreciate everybody chiming in. SpartanMag.com. Go over there for continued coverage of everything going on in Michigan State sports. Till then, thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. My name is Jim Comparoni from East Lansing, Michigan. Been watching Spartan Mag Live.